I'm sorry, Chelsea, okay? Although I am the Irish guy, and lads, I thought that Enzo Maresca was an unqualified egg who was probably better suited to scraping mud off corner flags than actually leading a team talk. When Chelsea appointed this geezer, I fully saw it as a desperate, boldly shaped attempt at cloning Pep. I mean, in what other universe is a club who spent billions on players wanting to hire a guy who's only 2 jobs in management so far, was him crumbling like cookies in the bath, lasting just 14 games at Parma, and sure, he won the championship title with Leicester, but only after a big fat springtime wobble. Seriously, Chelsea were hiring the guy who just lost 7 of his final 14 championship matches. Maresca lost the managerial battle against Plymouth's Neil Dewsnip, who's not even a manager. Of course I thought he was a boring vanilla hipster sandwich, but in his first season in the Chelsea job, he's won the Conference League and now the Club World Cup, whilst taking Chelsea back into the Champions League by finishing 4th. That is excellent work. Okay, to be fair, it would have been a disgrace if they didn't win the Conference League. For a squad with that absolute booming wealth, even seeing them participating in that competition was a joke. It'd be like seeing Leonardo DiCaprio getting cast in your son's Christmas pageant at school. Yeah, I'm pretty sure an Oscar winner is going to outshine every single one of those snot-nosed brats on stage, especially the stupid kid who's only there to play a tree. Okay, fine, that was me. But lads, here's a weird question. Chelsea have now lifted 2 trophies this season, which is certainly impressive on paper, but how much do you actually care about either one? You're in such a weird position because your players have now won 2 competitions which have 0 history. Jose Mourinho once said, whilst he was at Real Madrid, Rafa Benitez should feel embarrassed that Chelsea are in the Europa League. So what did he think about Chelsea playing in a competition with actual farmers? Seriously, Cole Palmer was nutmegging left-backs who were probably having to text their mum at half-time to check in on their sheep. Some of those atrociously awful goalkeepers were probably extremely nervous that the matches didn't go to extra time because they had to be up for work at 6 a.m. the next day, cleaning toilets in a Slovenian Burger King. So Chelsea, be honest, did you care? Did you actually care about winning a trophy, which has only been won in the past by Roma, Olympiacos and West Ham? For a prideful club like Chelsea, who've won it all before, even that chunk of silverware must have been a bit embarrassing to lift. Seriously, I mean, do I think that Chelsea players were wildly celebrating into that night? No, they probably had a celebratory croissant and got home early to watch Grey's Anatomy with their wives. I'll be honest, I don't think the Conference League should exist because it's a horrible competition which nobody wants to play in. Well, no English team anyway. Isn't it hilarious how utterly devastated Crystal Palace are at being demoted to play in this thing? Seriously, we've almost got Steve Parish crying on TV, showing how much he wishes it was the Europa League instead. And Palace, a club with 0 European history, even they are looking at this competition as if it's a birthday invite to Roy Jennings' house. Nobody wants to go! By now, you've just become the first team to ever win the Club World Cup, and that is impressive. Of course it is. An English team have won a World Cup. That sounds weird. The flat in PSG 3-0 in the final is great, but when I even fathom your whole month at that tournament, I instantly feel exhausted. As if I sat through one of Alfie's 43-minute documentaries about the colour of left-back's armpit hair in Turkey. Chelsea's season began with a pre-season game against Wrexham on the 24th of July last year, again in America. It's just ended with a Club World Cup win over PSG on the 13th of July this year, again in America. That is 1 week off being an entire year-long season. You basically turned Chelsea's season into a season of neighbours. It never stops! I can't even begin to imagine how exhausted these players must feel. It's absolutely bananas. I mean, it is a little cute that Reece James was a midfield experiment in that friendly against Wrexham a year ago, and it's paid off by displaying a midfield masterclass against the best team in Europe at the end. But this just seems like there must have been a very weary, exhausting month for everyone concerned. In one season, Chelsea had 2 American tours. As club teammates are not supposed to be locked away with each other for weeks on end. International teammates get sick of each other at these major tournaments, but it's fine, because they don't have to see each other again for another 4 months. They can go back to their clubs and get some space. But these Chelsea players, they've just spent a month in each other's pockets. And now they're in line for another 9 months of football, where they see these guys every day. Sure, I mean, the month together might have briefly brought some of them closer. Maybe, but I get the feeling that Liam Delap snores, so whatever poor chap was stuck in his miserable bedroom, I'm guessing they probably feel like throwing him out of a plane on the way home. Seriously, I'm guessing we're going to see an on-pitch bust-up at Chelsea this season. I'm guessing João Pedro and Wesley Fofana. But yeah, my point is that Chelsea have had a 70-match season. That seems exhausting. To think their season has dragged on this long. It's been like when your mate tells you that he hasn't slept in a week. I'm sorry, what? Oh, you'd better keep your distance because soon enough, he's gonna start doing something insane like kidnapping piglets. I know Chelsea didn't really care about winning the Conference League. They celebrated that as much as they'd celebrate winning a pack of wine gums in a raffle. But do you care about the World Cup? The tricky thing is this competition has absolutely no history. And most people I've talked to haven't bothered to watch this tournament. Probably because of all the DAZN ads. Seriously, there's ads during the games. During the don't get me started. Throughout this tournament, I'd say I missed out on about half an hour of football to be shown two teenagers kissing and then being talked down to by some bloke in a backpack. It just makes me not want to buy Burger King, to be honest. So yeah, Chelsea players didn't really know whether to celebrate this tournament wildly or not. Is it a massive honour to win the Club World Cup, or is this just a glorified pre-season friendly? They were playing against a sleepwalking PSG, a PSG team who were absolutely shattered. Because they achieved their pinnacle a month ago, winning the Champions League, they already achieved their Everest. I'm surprised they still had enough in the tank to flatten Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, because I thought their motivation would be drowned in chocolate. I thought these PSG players would be desperate to be spending this month chilling on an island, toasting their European success with a big fat cup of tea, being hauled off to America to play more football. It feels like being given extra homework after your final day at school. Seriously, everyone else is playing outside in the sun, but you're stuck inside on a hot day in June, scribbling line after line of insufferable algebra. It's like PSG were being punished for their own success, but now the Champions League winners I've just lost to the Conference League winners. Surely you don't lose to Spurs in the Super Cup as well. Surely not. But look, Chelsea do look magnificent. I know I banged on about it being a 70-game season, but this team has twisted and changed over the last 12 months. And now it looks really good. The back four of Gusto, Chalobah, Colwill and Cucurella looks pretty sharp. And James and Caicedo make a surprisingly formidable defensive midfield partnership, with Enzo pushed into the number 10 role alongside Neto and Palmer on either side of him. Pretty electric stuff. And here's the real game changer. The addition of João Pedro up front. Don't get me wrong, I reckon Liam Delap is absolutely fuming. He thought he just had a battle in his hands with Nicholas Jackson for the starting striker spot. And when the Senegalese striker became the absolute bad guy by getting a brainless red card against Flamengo, which has suddenly tipped every media outlet to back him to leave, Delap probably thought the starting spot was his forever. No, in comes Pedro, and lads, he's brilliant. A superstar. And it's so annoying because back in his debut season at Brighton, I kept banging on about saying he'd be an excellent choice for Man City. And people in the comments looked at me as if I said I'd like to eat squirrels for breakfast. Well, look at him now. He cuts his holiday short to jump into the Club World Cup and spanks 2 wonder goals past his old club for Fluminense. And now just chipped Donnarumma in the final. He's a secretly magnificent player, and you know what? I think he'd been wasted at Newcastle, because if he had come to St James's Park, he'd have just been flung out wide. No. His best position is as this fluid, roaming, link up, number 9.5. Not quite false 10, because he's excellent in the box. So honestly, Delap is probably looking at Pedro, and he must feel like getting sick in his Cocoa Pops, because I think the Brazilian is going to be Chelsea's best fit of a striker since Diego Costa, and he joined 11 years ago. I think Pedro is gonna be class, and Cole Palmer, he is just excellent. Why on earth did Man City ever let him leave? I mean, let's be honest, when he speaks, he sounds no smarter than a glass of lumpy orange juice. I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean, okay, but he does look like someone who struggled to spell the word cat, and I generally wouldn't want to be in his presence because his overall body language on the pitch, sometimes he doesn't look like a particularly pleasant guy. Even in his surly interviews, he just looks like the interviewer is bothering him at all times. But as a footballer, he's ridiculous. For a 23-year-old to crack home 2 identical goals in a final against the best team in the world, wow. I'm gonna say this, he needs to start for England. Right now, I think he edges Bukayo Saka out of the right wing spot. And can you imagine, instead of selling both of them to Reading and to Chelsea, if Man City had kept both Michael Olise and Cole Palmer, 2 of them roaming behind Erling Haaland? It will be lights out for everyone. But look, what can Chelsea actually do next season? Right now, these players need to quit thinking about football and enjoy their 3-week break. Seriously, go and jump in a swimming pool. Start munching on burgers at a barbecue. The last thing these guys should be thinking about after a 70-match season is football. Seriously, if Reece James' mum even sees him looking through a 442 magazine, she should instantly chuck milk in his face, because Chelsea have another jam-packed season starting in less than a month. So go out there and rest. But what they can do until then is solve their goalkeeping issue. I'm sorry, but go back out there and sign AC Milan's Mike Maignan. Or even maybe if you can try and tempt Donnarumma from PSG himself. If you can offer him bags of money and agree to make him the joint highest paid player at the club, then maybe him. But yes, if Chelsea can go out there and get a proper elite goalkeeper, then Chelsea, they could be the next Arsenal, finishing 2nd in the league. And lads, if we've got 2 of Pep's former assistants fighting it out in the same title challenge, then you know what that means. The next huge trend in football is going to be everyone going out there to appoint a guy who's shared a bench with Pep. Honestly, I know he messed it up at Salzburg last season, but give it 12 months and next summer, Pep Linders is going to get an ambitious job like West Ham. I mean, lads, not only is he assistant to Guardiola, but his name is also Pep. But yeah, he also worked under Klopp as well for years, so it does make him look like a bit of a worm-tongued snake. But still, I'm telling you, this is the era of the Pep assistant coach. Where's Juan Malilo gonna go? Anyway, that's the video. Let me know in the comments what do you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you scared of Chelsea? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and ways. I'll talk to you in a while. If someone could tell me how many more bananas I have to eat, that would be just magnificent. Okay. I guess forget. How many more of these do I have to eat?